Welcome back, guys. Pretty cool video. At least I think it's pretty cool. I hope you'll think it's cool for you today. So some of you guys know I've been experimenting with Notion, which is a web-based productivity thing. Where it's essentially a series of nested databases, and it's very freeform and thus very flexible, but also somewhat overwhelming sometimes. So I have another video on my channel, and I will link it below. That's kind of like, my introduction to Notion, where I talk about my how I set up a tracker to track all of my writing projects. But I kind of built on that concept of like a writing tracker, writing project tracker. And so I was able to, I went ahead and integrated it with like a schedule tracker, to be able to create a writing schedule for myself, say, for a particular year or whatever. And I also wanted to integrate it with my sort of daily planning system. And the planning system that I use is called HB90. It was developed by Sarra Cannon. She's here on YouTube as she has a channel, Sarra Cannon, for her author like fan base. She's a indie YA author, but she also has a channel called Heart Breathings, which focuses a lot more on like writer planning and productivity and things like that. And she developed this planning system called the HB90. It stands for Heart Breathings 90, and it's the 90-day planning system. And you guys, I am not exaggerating when I tell you that using this system really like fundamentally changed my game. At the core of the system, it's really all about helping you get super, super clear on what your goals are and what you really want, what you need to be doing in order to build the life that you want to live. And so there's some intensive like pre-planning that goes along with it, in terms of, figuring out what your vision is for your future, and figuring out, what it's going to take to get you there, what things are dragging you away from that vision, stealing your time, if those are things that you can nix and get out of your life, or if there are intermediate steps that you have to take in between there. So again, I cannot recommend the series enough, or the system enough. I will link the Heart Breathings channel in the description below, but please go check it out. She's got a ton of free content. And in addition, she also runs a course quarterly, that's called the HB90 Bootcamp, where she walks the students through step by step how to use the planner, how to do all of the prep journaling exercises and things like that. So if you are watching this video between the 4th of June of 2023 and the 18th of June of 2023, that course is actually open for enrollment. And I have an affiliate link. I'm an affiliate of the course because I believe in it so much. So if you're interested in the course, it's $199, but you do get lifetime access. And I have literally taken it every quarter since I've started, and I've gotten something new out of it every single time. You don't have to take the course to use the planner, but the two together are just super, super powerful. So check the link in the description if that's something that you're interested in. I would love it if you would use my affiliate link. But at the very minimum, I highly recommend you go check out Sarah's channel. To include, she also has another video specifically about Notion that I will individually link. And that was the video that really sort of taught me how to set up Notion and my Notion dashboard the way that I wanted it. So all of those links will be in the video. But what we're going to see in the remainder of this video is how I have this sort of integration of these different databases between my writing schedule, my writing projects database, and my HB90 project and task tracker. How I have those all linked together, and am using that to, kind of set myself up for success on a daily and weekly basis. If this is something that you're interested in, if this is a template that you would like me to make available to you, leave a comment down below and let me know. That is something that I can do. I'm hesitant to just link it out into the internet at large. So it might be the kind of thing that I post in my private Discord server. If you are interested in coming to hang out on my private Discord server, the way to do that is just to head on over to my website and sign up for my mailing list, where I send out weekly updates about my life and what's going on the writing front and things like that. So, okay, lots of information. We haven't even really gotten started yet. This is going to be a doozy of a video, you guys. So take a minute, grab a beverage, open up your own Notion if you want to follow through, follow along. Yeah, let's get started. All right, so the next step in this process is to build our writing schedule. Now, your writing schedule is whatever you decide it to be, right? So before you sit down to do this, take a however long it takes, take a day or a minute or whatever, and figure out, for example, if you're doing this at the beginning of the year, you might want to ask yourself, okay, this year, how many writing projects can I reasonably expect to accomplish? You're going to want to, and this is another thing that's great about the HB90 system, is because in Sarah's system, she really kind of walks you through this concept of correctly estimating the amount of time you have available, right? So I'm not going to go through that in too much detail, but I will link her channel below. She's got a lot of phenomenal videos on this topic. So the idea is, take into account, do you have a job? Do you have a family? Do you have small kids? Do you have adult kids that require a lot of your time? Because that happens too. Take those things into account and don't overburden yourself. Don't overschedule yourself, but give yourself a realistic look at, okay, during this period of time that I'm scheduling for, what do I reasonably think that I can accomplish? So we're going to say that we're scheduling for the year, and we think that in the next year we can do probably one full novel and maybe 3 short stories, given all of the things that we have coming up in the next year. So once you've figured that out using whatever process you choose, you're going to come back here and you're going to input that writing schedule into the database. Now, the database that you're putting it into is this one right here. This one that says Integration Writing Timeline blank. You can change the name of it to whatever you want. But as I said earlier, if you drag this database out of this page, it'll break the links that are already there, I think. So I haven't pressure tested that, so take that with a grain of salt. But you can change the name to whatever you want. I named it all integration just so that it was it was easier to find, so that I could link these things together, right? But anyway, the point is, once you've decided what you want to do, as far as how many projects you're going to be able to do during the next period of time, you're going to click Build My Writing Schedule. It's going to open up a side peek of a page. Now, this page is going to be an entry in that database, and what you are filling in is the first slot, of time, right? The first period of time that you're going to do some kind of writing project. So, let's say we decided we're going to do one novel in 2023. We'll pretend that this is the beginning of 2023. So we'll say, so we're going to call it 2023 novel. Okay. If you were going to do 5 novels, you could call it novels A, B, C, D, and E. You could call it 2023 novel 1, novel 2, novel 3, etc. Whatever works for you. You don't want to give it the name of the actual project because you're going to do that elsewhere. You're just naming the time spot that during which you're going to be working on that project. Does that make sense? So then you're going to come through and you're going to fill out everything not everything. You're going to fill out some things. All right. And again, here I have a little toggle list. It says fill in appropriate information. So if we expand that out, number 1, it tells you what everything is. Number 1, time slot. It actually says slot timeline. Is the name you are giving to that. That's the title, is the name that you're giving to that period of time. Slot timeline is the actual time that it's going to take you to do this project. So we're going to say that we're going to start it in January, at the beginning of the year. Actually, you know what? We're going to say that we're going to start it on June 1st because I'm filming this at the end of May. So we're going to say that we're going to start on June 1st, and we're going to say that it's going to take us, let's see, June, July, August, September, October, November. We're going to say that it's going to take us 6 months to write this novel. Okay. So 5 months to do the rough draft, and then about a month for edits. And then, we're going to submit it to our publisher or start the self-publishing process at the end of that 6th month. Okay. So we're going to start it on June 1st. And we're going to click end date, and that's going to give us this other, end date to finish it. And we said we're going to work on it for June, July, August, September, October, and then November is the 6th month. So we're going to the entirety of the time that we're going to be working on is going to be until the end of November. So we're going to say November 30th. Okay, that's the time that we are working on this novel. We want our rough draft to be due at the end of October because we want that final month for edits, right? So October 31st, Halloween. That's the date that we want our rough draft due. Now, one note here. These due dates that you're filling in, those are your internal due dates. If you have a due date from your publisher or your editor or something like that, you can use that date. But if you're like me and you like to kind of pad things a little bit to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, put in your internal due dates with the padding included. That's what you're going to work on here. Okay. So select your rough draft due date, put it there. Edits due are going to be at the end of November, we said. So we'll call it a day prior to the end of November. And then the submission due date is the last day in November. Right. Now, if you wanted a couple of rounds of edits, you could change that up however you wanted, in terms of like moving that edits due date up and then, thinking, okay, it's going to take 2 weeks to do, a couple of rounds of it back and forth between me and my editor. So I will go ahead and, you might want to make your edits due date like the 15th or something like that. It's totally up to you. You can make that whatever you want. And if you need more dates, you can actually go into the database and put in another date category into the database without breaking anything. But if you need, if that's something that you're comfortable with, if not, let me know, and I can definitely walk you through that. All right. So we fill in our due dates. Now, these next couple of dates, rough draft finished, date submitted, edits finished, date released, those are going to be the actual dates that those things occur. So you're not going to fill those in yet because they haven't happened yet. But they're there for you to keep track so that when you come back and look at your historical data, you can see, oh, okay, I typically finish a rough draft about a month early. So maybe next time, instead of scheduling, 5 months to write a rough draft, I only need 4. This is just sort of because I'm kind of a data hound, right? I like to keep track of how things go. So that's why that's like that. The next 2 properties are project status and project title. Excuse me. And if you notice, they both have this like magnifying glass icon that indicates that they're a roll-up property. All right. Now, a roll-up property, it means a roll-up property is a property that will auto-populate from another database once it's filled in. There is the property directly below it has this little arrow and it says integration writing projects database. What that means is that this database is linked via that relation property to the integration writing projects database that we're going to fill out next. So once we fill out that writing projects database and you've put in what your actual projects are going to be, you will, because of this link, you will be able to come in here and these will be auto-populated because you're going to select. Once you fill out what your writing project is, you're going to select this time slot via a relation property, and it's going to fill that stuff in for you. And I'll show you what that means in a minute if that's confusing. So, So right now, that's all we have to do for the first novel, or for the novel, right? So once you do that, you can click close. And if you notice, if you want to check that it's there, you can come down here to integration writing timeline blank, click on the three dots, open in SidePeak, and you can see there it is, 2023 novel, slot timeline, etc. Right? Um, so then you would repeat that process for all of the for all of your projects that you plan to create in that year. Or, if we were just doing this for the rest of 2023, that would be it. But let's say that we were doing like a full year planning cycle, and we also wanted to add some short stories, right? So I'll just do one just as an example. But we said, hypothetically, I can do one novel and 3 short stories in a year. So let's we would then do this for each of those short stories as well, those short story time slot times, right? So this one would then be, we would call this short story 1, or A or B or unicorns, whatever. Slot timeline. So I know I'm working on my novel until November. Let's take December off because it's a pretty busy time. So let's go to January, and you can type it in. I'm just clicking through. Let's go to January of 2024. And let's say that we're going to start on the 8th, because that first week is all New Year's holiday stuff and whatever. So and I'm going to take the rest of the month from the 8th through the 31st for the entirety of the short story. Oops. See what I did there? You got to click end date and then click on your end date. Rough draft due. Unfortunately, it doesn't jump to it, so I'm going to have to click over to it again. So my rough draft is, I'm starting on the 8th. I'm going to say my rough draft is due on the 19th, and I'm going to give myself kind of that last week and a half for edits. So submission due date is going to be January 31st. And I'm going to say my edits are going to be due. I'd like to have my edits due. I'd like to have my edits done by the 26th, giving me those like 3 days of slop or whatever. Okay. So that's it. So that's short story 1. Close that out. Again, if you want to check, come down here, 3 dots, open in SidePeak, and there it is. Okay. Now here's the other thing too. When you open this up, if you look here, you can click here and it will show you, okay, short story 1 is going to be January 2024. Novel is going to start tomorrow, and it'll go, all the way to November 30th. Now, let's say that, something happens and you get a little bit behind, you need to extend this. This is one of the cool features of this, is you can just take this and like pull it out, run it into December as long as you need to. And it will update everywhere else, so if you go back in here, now it says that it goes through December 10th. So that's pretty cool, right? Okay, so we'll say that that's what we've decided to do. We're going to do our novel and our 1 short story, and we've filled in our whole writing schedule. The next step is going to be to actually schedule actually fill out our writing project database, and then get those projects scheduled into those slots. So that'll be next. All right, so now let's take a look at building our writing projects database and scheduling those writing projects into the time slots that we've just created in our writing schedule. Okay, so this next toggle list here, instructions for scheduling your writing projects, I'm going to click that open, and it says click schedule my writing projects. I'm very creative, you guys. So clicking on that, it's going to, once again, open a page. Now, this is a page in my writing projects database. Okay. So this time when I go to set the title, I'm actually going to use the title of my project. So we're going to say that I'm writing a novel called The Blue Glass, because I'm drinking water out of a blue glass. So The Blue Glass. Like some sort of American Southern Gothic something or other. And we're going to say that this is the first in the series. I don't currently have any artwork to append to it, but this is actually a really useful property if you do have, several art images like maps or character images, because it's the icon is a paperclip, and it really is like a little paperclip where you can just sort of append all of those files in one place so that you don't have to go searching for them. So nothing to add there right now, though. Under number goal, that's where you're going to put your targeted word count. So I'm going to say that mine is 100,000 words. Okay. Notes is just a notes section. If you were co-writing, you might note that here, or if this was if it just for whatever, it's just a text property. Moving down, you can see date release, date submitted, edits due, edits finished. All of these have that magnifying glass that I told you was indicative of a roll-up property. So some of these are actually going to auto-populate once we assign this project to a time slot. And it's super cool. I'm going to show you here in a second. So we're just going to leave those be for now. Publisher, you can see it's a select property. So this one we're going to say is going to be a self-pub project. And then rough draft due, rough draft finished. Again, those are roll-ups, so we won't worry about those right now. Series, we're gonna say it's the first book in a series, but it's not any of these series. We're gonna call this American Southern Gothic, whatever. Just because I thought that was cute when I said that. So, and then the next property is the status property. Now, this is what, remember I showed you on the dashboard down at the bottom. I can just show it here. This is what sets this up here. The default is that it's not started, but we're going to say that we're jumping right into the plotting process for this. And so as you can see, I'm not going to close the side peek here because it's kind of a pain to get back to it. But, if you can see kind of peeking out over here, here it is, and it's already set in our plotting section. So that's kind of cool. Two more roll-up properties here: submission due date and timeline. And now here is where the magic happens. This is a relation property. So remember I said that the arrow indicates that it's a relation property, and that is the actual link between the two databases. So this one, you can see it integrates with I'm pointing at the screen. You guys can't see because I'm super smart. It points to integration writing timeline blank. So what we're going to do is we're going to click over here in the empty spot, and it's going to give us the option of all of the time slots that we've created in our writing schedule. This one's the novel. We only have one novel, so we're going to select novel. And then boom, all of the dates that we've already filled in are going to be here. Now, here's the other thing that's cool. Let's say that I have completed my rough draft, right? I completed it today. If I fill it in over there on the timeline, it will fill in here as well. It's pretty great. So anyway, so here it is for the blue glass. That's all the information that we need to fill in right now. And it's scheduled. It's set into our schedule. Now, but here's the next bit. If you look down here at the body, so all of these are sort of the properties of the page. This is actually the body of the page, right? So if you look down here at the body of the page, I have 3 options of templates that you can select. 3 different types of projects. This one's a novel. So oddly enough, we're going to select novel, and it's going to think about it for a minute, but eventually it's going to populate with all of this I think really useful stuff. I'm actually really proud of this. So let me give you a quick tour. Okay. The first thing that we've got is our task listing. And I'm going to show you that last, simply because it's just easier to do that way. But this is actually another embedded database, but this is the thing that is going to link to our HB90 goals, or whatever goal setting system you're using, to break down into the individual 1,000-word tasks that we're going to accomplish in order to write this whole novel, right? And I'll show you what that means here in a minute. Below that, I have a word count tracker. It's actually more like a sprint tracker. You could use it to count every single word that you write. I've just been using it when I run sprints, and I do some writing in sprints and some writing not in sprints. But it's very simple. It's just the date, the number of words that you got per sprint, the number of words you got per day, and then a notes column. Over here on the right, we have a couple of gallery views. These are the book characters. And so if these are both gallery views, because like I said, I like to use a lot of inspiration art. So I will actually go into an AI image generation program and kind of mess around until I get a picture in that matches close enough to the picture in my head of what this character looks like. And then I will put that in here, in that character profile page that opens up when I click on that. And when I open up the work, it shows that, right? So um so we can actually, I mean, we can actually do that. I'm gonna just so that I don't lose everything. Well, it might mess up with the camera. So but I can show you guys that later, or perhaps in another video if you like. But suffice it to say, you click on that, and then it has it's basically a character sheet, and it's the kind of the one I use with a lot of questions. And if you just upload an image into that page, it will show up as as the gallery image for this particular character. Same thing with location, right? If you want to create some information about a city that you're writing in or something like that, and then maybe include a map or an aerial view of the city, that could be really cool. Down here, I have a writing journal, and in this writing journal, it'll show. I've got a template here for a scene drafting entry, and what that is it's just sort of like a journal for me. I'll click on it when I start a writing session, and it'll ask me questions like, "What is the purpose of the scene?" I haven't done this yet, but I'm thinking about editing it to really match some of the questions that Sarah mentions in her really excellent series on writing great scenes. So I'll link that video series down below so you guys can check that out. That's not there yet, but that's certainly a thing that you could do, is you could go in and edit those questions so that you have basically you have the information that she uses on her scene cards right there in your writing journal for all of the scenes or any of the scenes that you wanted to use. And then down here we have gallery view cover art, and if I click add an image, it will open up this little spot here, where I can upload a file. Let me give you guys a file. Let's say the blue glass. I don't have any pictures of a blue glass. How about this one? This is a kind of a cool sci-fi noir sort of situation that might have a might have a title like the blue glass. But then you can see that that cover art is there, right? So just remember that, because when we close it, it's going to show up on our dashboard in that manner. So now let's go over to the novel to do. Okay, because this is so far, just to catch up. So far, we've done filling in the appropriate information. We've clicked on the appropriate template for the project. What we're going to do here is you're going to open this. And the first thing that you're going to do is change this name. Okay. You're going to want to change this name to the title of your work. And the reason is so that you can, when you go into your HB90 tasks to link it to this particular database, you don't have 1,000 of them that are called novel, right? So this one is the blue glass. Oops. There we go. Blue glass to do, or you could call it the blue glass novel to do, whatever you like. And as you see here, I have another database, each of which with an entry. Each entry is its own page. But I'm actually going to expand this so that you can see the whole thing. What you've got here is, plot book, write 1,000 words, write 1,000 words, write 1,000 words, etc. I have 100 of these because most of the novels that I write, I aim for the 100,000 range. I kind of have them broken up into 1,000 groups just for ease of use. You could add additional tasks down here for, do an edit pass. In fact, we're going to do one of those right now. So I'm going to go edit pass. And Yep, and that's it, right? Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Edit pass, and then you could do no submit to submit. Sorry, guys, I can spell. I promise. Submit to beta readers. Or whatever, whatever your process is after you've finished a first draft, have a glass of champagne. You could include that in there. But the idea is, you're going to customize this to work for you. And then once you've done that, up here at the top, you see that there's once again a relation property for integrated HB90 goals blank. Now, if you remember back on the dashboard, that's the name of the HB90 goals template that I put in there, that I built basically, after watching Sarra Cannon's video on how she builds her HB90 goals into Notion. So again, I will link that video. I've probably said that already during this video, but all of those links will be in the description below. Highly recommend that you check that out. It really is an excellent tutorial. So for this first task of plotting the book, we're going to come over and we're going to click in this spot of integrated HB90 goals. Okay. And it says link or create a page in integration HB90 goals blank. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a page that goes along with plot book. And we're going to call it plot the blue glass. Okay. I highly recommend, when you're doing this step, always use the title of the book for your task, because if you're working on multiple projects at once, that's the only way that you're going to have to keep them straight. So we're going to hit enter. And now it shows one linked page, plot the blue glass. And if I click out of it, you can see it here. Now, you could, if you wanted to, at this stage, go through 100 times and do the next thing that I'm going to do. I typically tend to do it in 10,000 word chunks, just because I don't want to sit here and do it 100 times all at once. Or you could do it, every week or every month, whatever rhythm works best for you. But the next thing that I'm going to do is, you see where it says write 100 words, 1K. So for me, the way that works as a task to be accomplished, on my task board, is I'm going to say break 1K in the blue glass. And I'm just going to use initials, right? Now it's linked there. Okay. And so I'm going to do that for the next 10 of them. Okay, so I made a mistake. Once you've put the first one in, it's going to try to relink it to that one. So what you need to do is make sure that every time that you're putting one in, you type it in, and then instead of just hitting enter, come down here to where it says new and hit that. And then it will link it to the new thing. If you accidentally link it to something old, you can unlink it simply by clicking this little minus symbol. So sorry about that. All right, moving on. Okay, so now I've gotten all 10 of those loaded in there and linked with the HB90 goals database. So the next thing that we're going to do, and like I said, you could go through and just, spend an entire afternoon and just fill this out from top to bottom if you wanted to. I tend to do them, like I said, in 10,000 word chunks, just because it's a little bit less unwieldy for me that way. But once we've done that, let's go back to our blue glass page. And you can see, let me show you the book character, like I told you. So this is the character profile, right? Once again, I've got the files and media paperclip page where you can fill in, or you can attach files. These are just some some character notes. You can change these to be whatever you want. But the other thing that I wanted to show you is, and I should probably add a button like I did before. I'm just going to add an image. And it's just /image. It's very easy. And then it says upload file. And I'm going to add a character sheet. And we're going to say that this is her. Okay. She's pretty badass. All right. So now once I close this, it should, let me see. So it should give us the picture of her. Not sure why it's not. It might need to, sometimes it has to think about it for a little bit. But anyway, that's a way that you can load in your character sheets and then your book locations. And I talked about the scene drafting entry. So that's it. So that's your writing project for the novel, The Blue Glass, right? So now if we go back to our, I'm going to just use the breadcrumbs up here to go back to the integration dashboard. You can see over here in our works in progress, we've got that novel there in the blue glass. And if you come down here to our writing projects by status, there it's showing up again. Now, if you want to look at your whole writing projects, you just open this up, Integration Writing Projects Database. I'm going to open it in a side peek. You could open it in a new tab if you wanted to, and it'll be here listed. So if you are trying to do this and you already have a bunch of works in progress, you can just enter this information in this table view and all of it will populate appropriately. The thing that you will have to make sure that you do is that you click here on, so let's say I wanted to enter my new short story, and I'm going to call that Red Candle, because I have one of those burning too. Oh my gosh, typing. Right. It's not started. Integration writing. I'm going to click on here and I'm going to select short story 1 because it's my short story, and self-pub, right? And et cetera, et cetera. I would fill all of those things in. So now you can notice if I open this up, it's the same thing, right? I can fill all of these things in. And because I've selected my timeline, it's giving me those due dates and that I already selected. And then when I hit, because this is a short story, if I hit the short story template, it too will auto-populate in a minute with some information. It's very similar, right? So the short story task list is quite a bit shorter, but the same kind of thing. You would want to change the name of it to match your short story. So once we've done that, once we've filled out our writing projects database, the next thing that we're going to do is go over to our HB90 goals and actually integrate this and get everything set up. So that'll be next. Okay, so now that we have built our writing schedule, scheduled our writing projects into that schedule, let's take a look at how we are going to use those writing project tasks and link them to our HB90 or other goal setting system task lists. So all of my stuff is going to say HB90 because that's what I use. That's what I love. I highly recommend it. But you could edit this to work with whatever system you use, as long as it's something that kind of, breaks things down into individual tasks. That's really the key part here, right? So once again, here we are at our integration dashboard. And as you can see, the blue glass project that we created in the previous section has this beautiful cover art that's showing here under our works in progress. So that worked out well. I also figured out why just real quick, I want to show you guys. I also figured out why the character sheet art wasn't showing up. So now you can see here in the blue glass that we have our character sheet populated with the art that we chose, the AI image that we chose for this character profile. The reason is because the view is set to pull from the content for the gallery view, and it pulls from like the top content, and it just wouldn't fit under all of these all of these headings. So all I did was I moved the image up to the top of the page so that it's the first thing that the gallery view pulls, and that's where it ends up with. So anyway, so back to HB90 tasks. So once again, I'm going to come over here to my instructions, expand out this toggle heading. And the first thing it says is schedule by HB90 tasks. So I'm going to hit that. And this time, instead of opening a single instance on the HB90 dashboard or HB90 database, it actually opens the full database, the full view of the database. This is the integration HB90 goals blank database. If we were to click down here, let me close it. If we were to click down here and open it in the side peek, it does the exact same thing. So there you go. And as you can see, do you remember how we went through, or I went through and put in all of those tasks to plot the blue glass, I'm going to keep saying blue glass, break 1,000 words in TBG, break all the way up through 10K. You can see here they are. And the reason that they are here, I'm actually going to expand this out to a full page view so you guys can see everything. The reason that they are is because over here, I have a relation property marked by that arrow related to novel to do integrated HB90 goals blank, right? And here you can see each of those tasks that was listed in that to-do list. Plot book, write 1,000 words, write 2,000 words, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So, this is why I say it's important to use the name of the title of the work in your task, just so that you can differentiate, right? So now that we have the bare bones of this data, we're going to go through and fill that out. Now, the way that I do my HB90 goals, and again, if you're curious about the HB90 system, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go check out Sarra Cannon's channel. I'll link her video. I'll link one of her videos about it down below. But basically, every quarter I set 3 goals, and goal number 1 is usually always my writing goal. Okay, so for all of these, I'm going to select goal 1, and you can actually, if they're all the same, you can do this, where you just drag it down and it selects that. And then for projects, here's some other ones. Some previous example projects are listed, but this one, the blue glass isn't listed as any of them. So I'm actually going to add it, and I'm going to call it the blue glass. And then, because it's going to bother me if something called the blue glass is purple, I'm going to click. If you click on these 3 dots here, you can edit it. And I'm going to change the color to blue just because otherwise that would really bug me. And since all of these are in the same project, once again, I'm going to drag it down to fill that. Okay. So now they all default to the to-do status. Unlike the novel status, I haven't customized these. The options for status are to do, doing, cancel. Well, I guess I have added the canceled. To do, doing, canceled, or done, right? Sometimes you just end up canceling things because they're just not going to work. But that's still that still puts it in the completed category, right? Off your plate. Sarah, in her version of this, she uses a date due. That confuses me, if I'm honest, because if it's a due date, that's the date that it has to be done by. So what I use is a date scheduled, and this is the date that I plan to accomplish this task. Okay. If I go down to plotting, and let's say that I plan to accomplish this task on the 1st of June, and then, we'll just add a couple more of these just so you can see. Maybe this one I'll do, next week sometime. You can fill these in, however you like, as for the dates that you plan to get things due. If I have a hard deadline that I want to make sure that I note it, that I don't forget about or pay attention to, I can put it. I will likely put it here in this notes column. Okay. But for my writing tasks, for the date scheduled, it's not the date that the draft is due. It's the date that I plan on accomplishing that piece of the task, writing that 1,000 words or whatever. Okay. Quarter. We are right now we're in Q2, so I'm just going to select that. Some tasks, this is a multi-select, as you can see by this little bullet list icon thing. Some tasks span more than one quarter, right? Or they're repeated in multiple quarters, and I'll talk about repeating tasks probably in another video because it's a whole nother thing. But there's a way to set this up so that it like auto populates, a new task every day or every 3 weeks or whatever, and we can talk about that later. But anyway, so I'll go through and I'll fill out all of this stuff for my writing tasks that I've entered. However, I also have 2 other types of goals, right? So for me, goal 2 is usually my social media goal. And so, I can, let's say that I have that didn't add. So, let's say that one of the things that I want to do is to film this video. Okay. And I want to accomplish that today. It's the 31st of May. And it's not going to have anything over here in this relation because it isn't related to that project, right? But once I do that, let's say then, same project, I would need to edit this video, right? Okay. And let's say I'm going to take tomorrow and I'm going to do that. Okay. And you would just go through and you would fill this out for, whatever your social media tasks are, and your social media, or I'm saying social media because that's my goal. my goal for Q2 or for goal 2 is usually a social media focused goal. But you would just go through and you would fill this out for whatever tasks you had figured out through the HB90 process or whatever goal setting process you're using. Whatever tasks that would support that goal, you would fill that out in this manner. Same thing with goal 3. For me, goal 3 is usually like a, like a personal, household, family type goal, right? And I'm going to say it's for, actually, we're going to say clean the house because it's already there. And I'm going to say declutter my office, right? And I'm going to set that for 2 weeks from now, right? Actually, no, I'm going to set it for next week. Actually, I'm going to set it for Saturday. So yeah. So like I said, you would just go through and you would fill out all of this. And again, if you have questions on this, I'm not going to spend much more time on it because Sarra Cannon's video on doing her HB90 tasks in Notion walks you through step by step exactly how to set this up and exactly how to set up the views and everything like that. And I used most of that information is what I used to set up the integration dashboard that we're going to go look at right now. So once you get all this done, you can go back to the integration dashboard and you can look and you can see nothing is set for, I don't have my filters set up for the weekly tasks yet, but if you look down here at the monthly tasks, you can see today it's showing the Notion integration video, and then the editing for the video and plotting for the blue glass. Now let's say that I don't get the editing done, but I have to work on it on Friday. I just pull it over and it reschedules it. Okay. For the weekly view, let me reset the filters. So what we're going to do is we're going to say this is a view of our HB90 tasks database, and we're going to set it where date scheduled is between, and you can set an actual date range. And we're going to say it's between today. No, I guess I got to clear them both. Okay. Starting on the 31st and ending on the 7th. So for the next 7 days, these are the tasks that I have due or that I have scheduled. Okay. So every week when I do my weekly planning, that's one of the things that I do is I adjust that filter so it's going to show me the next 7 days. I usually do my planning on a Sunday, so I have it go from Sunday to Sunday, sometimes Sunday to Monday, depending on what's going on, just so that I have a view on all of those things. And then the other thing that I can do is I can click on date scheduled and I can go sort ascending, and it'll put these in order. So I can come in here and I can look and I can say, okay, today is the 31st. I'm supposed to film that Notion integration video. Well, guess what? That's exactly what I'm doing. So it's in progress, right? And once I get it done, I can change it to done and click the little checkbox because that's satisfying to me. And there you have it. And as I work through my week, these things will change and all of those, and it will update, as I go. Now, let's say that I am, it's the 2nd, or maybe I'm getting to it earlier, but I have just finished the Breaking 1K, right? So what I can do is I can go open inside Peak, bring this up, click here, write 1,000 words, completed. Date completed was, today. Date scheduled was the 2nd, and act 1, right? And there's that. So now when I open the blue glass and I open my to-do list, you see all that information's there and it's done. And I can, let's say I broke 1,000 words and let's say I got, 1,500. Oops. Let me just adjust that so it looks cool. This is going to be really hard for you to see, but there's like a little line here, right? And the very beginning of that little line is a dot. So let's say, for example, let's say I imported a previous file and now I have, 53,000 words. That's unrealistic, but there you go. You see how the line is blue a little over halfway? So this is just like a cool visual way of seeing your progress as you go through, working on your novel. And I've, that's one of the things that, as I do work on my actual projects, I found that to be really, really useful and really motivating to see that line grow as I go through. So that is pretty much it. Couple more things to show you on this page. Again, in database templates for duplication, I don't recommend pulling these directly over to your sidebar, your Notion sidebar, because it might break those relations. It might not. I'm not a Notion expert. This is just, something that I've kind of fumbled my way through figuring out. But I do have them here. And one of the things that I do have that I have added as well is the book to do. This is that, if I open this in the side peek, this is that 100,000 word behemoth of a to-do list for a book. So, so it's there for you to duplicate and copy into another page if you need to, or if you're adjusting your templates or something like that. Same kind of thing with the story to do. This is the 10,000 word, much less daunting version. And if you're thinking to yourself, did she really sit here and type those all out? Yeah, I kind of did. I'm not gonna lie. It was, that's why I made sure to make this template so that I could easily duplicate it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this is, gives you some good ideas for how you can set up your own Notion databases to link together to help you, stay on top of all of your tasks and work with your HB90 system or other goal setting system. Once again, if you have questions about the HB90 system, let me know. I am an affiliate and I will have an affiliate link for the HB90 Bootcamp. I'm not an affiliate for the planner. I'm an affiliate for the HB90 Bootcamp, which is opening on July 4th for enrollment. Let me just confirm that before I tell you something wrong. Yes, July 4th at noon. No, excuse me, June 4th at noon. the HB90 Bootcamp course opens for enrollment for Q3. It is $199. It is a little pricey. I am telling you, it is worth every penny. I have done it every quarter because once you do it, you have lifetime access. I've done it every quarter for the last 3 quarters. And every time I get better at estimating how much time I have available, setting realistic goals and realistic projects and tasks for myself, and continuing to move towards my ideal life. Because the whole core of it is that you get really, really clear on what it is you want and how you want to be and how you want to feel and who you want to become. So yeah, let me know if you have more questions about that. Like I said, course opens June 4th afternoon, and then it closes on June 18th because that's when the kickoff call for the Q3 course starts. So if you're watching this video between the dates of June 4th, 2023 and June 18th, 2023, check out the description for the HB90 for my affiliate link for the HB90 Bootcamp course. If you're outside of that window, you can always go check out Heart Breathings. And then she also has a Facebook group where you can check out and kind of stay in the know from when the next round of the bootcamp is coming up. So, all right, that's pretty much it for my Notion dashboard. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video and walkthrough of how I use Notion to integrate my writing schedule, my project list, and my HB90 task and projects database, which is the planning system that I use. I just want to take a moment to send a big shout out of thanks to Sarra Cannon and her team from Heart Breathings, because without her system, her HB90 system that she created, and all of the amazing content on her channel, both channels. She has 2 channels. She has her Sarra Cannon fan channel, and then also her Heart Breathings channel, which is focused on writer productivity, etc. So anyway, without her and her content, none of this, it inspired all of this stuff, right? So, and it really has been game changing for me, for my process, and helping me to stay on top of my productivity and, focus in on the things that I really want to get done. Once again, please go check out the links in the description. I'll leave a link to her Etsy store where you can purchase the HB90 planning system. It's a quarterly planner. It's a printable file. You can print it out on letter or A5 or half letter, and use it to make it your own. You don't need the boot camp to use the planner, but the boot camp is just a super powerful tool for really digging in and helping you, kind of figure out what you're doing with it. So again, if it is within the window of enrollment, I will have my affiliate link down below for the HB90 Bootcamp. And let me know in the comments if it's something you're interested in. Let me know if you're planning to be there. If you're already an HB90 devotee like me, let me know in the comment. Leave a heart in the comments or something of that nature to let me know that that you're here and that you check this out. As far as the template that I used, I do have that and it is exportable. I am a little hesitant to just put it out there into internet land. So I think what I'm going to do is I will have it available. I will have the file available or the link available for you in my private Discord. If you are interested in joining my private Discord, the way to do that is to go to my website and sign up for my newsletter. Once you do that, you'll get like weekly. You'll get a couple of free stories, which is cool, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. But you'll also get weekly updates from me, and then you'll get the Discord invite as well. And then you can come into the Discord, duplicate the template, and use it in your own Notion as you like. So yeah, hopefully this will be helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this behemoth of a video. But hopefully with some good info and gives you some ideas for how you can utilize Notion to really help you stay on top of all of your writing projects and get everything done that you want to get done. If you did like the video, I would love it if you would give me that Chuck Yeager thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. Most of my content is stuff like this, meeting my friends, just basically talking about my life as a writer, because I don't know, I find it interesting. So I Hope some of you guys find it interesting too. But it's been a lot of fun, and we do have a lot of fun here and in the Discord, right? So, yes, once again, thank you to Sarra Cannon and all of her team. Thank you to everyone watching this video. Leave me a comment. Let me know that that you're here, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that you have a great day, and we'll see you next time. I'm Casey Zell, and this is My Writer Life.